There is a moment in football history that still haunts defensive players to this day. A running back receives the handoff. A linebacker steps up to make the tackle. This is routine. This is what defenders do thousands of times in their careers. But this time was different. The linebacker lowers his shoulder. He drives forward with every ounce of strength in his body. And then something happens that defies explanation. The running back does not go down. He does not slow down. Instead, the linebacker flies backward like he weighs nothing, like he is made of paper. The running back keeps moving, accelerating, leaving a trail of broken tackles and shattered pride behind him. The stadium falls silent for a moment, then erupts. On the sideline, coaches look at each other with disbelief. In the film room the next day, defensive coordinators will rewind this play over and over again. They will search for an answer. They will find none. Because what they witnessed was not normal football. What they witnessed was a force of nature wearing a jersey. And this was not a one-time event. This happened again and again and again. Every single week, defenders would line up across from this man knowing something terrifying. They knew that contact with him would not feel like tackling a running back. It would feel like running full speed into a concrete wall that was somehow also running full speed at them. Coaches had no answer. Double teams did not work. Triple teams did not work. There was no scheme, no strategy, no game plan that could contain what this man brought to the football field. But here is what makes this story truly unbelievable. Football was not even his main sport. This man was a professional baseball player first. Football was something he did on the side, for fun, in his spare time. And yet, even as a part-time football player, he became the most physically dominant force the NFL has ever seen. His name would become synonymous with power, with speed, with the kind of athletic ability that scientists still cannot fully explain. But before he became a legend, he was a kid growing up in Alabama with nothing, absolutely nothing. His family struggled to put food on the table. He wore clothes that did not fit. He faced obstacles that would have broken most people before they even had a chance to dream. And yet, from that poverty, from that struggle, emerged an athlete so gifted that people who watched him play as a teenager thought they were witnessing something impossible. His high school coaches did not know what to do with him. He was faster than anyone they had ever seen, stronger than players twice his age. He did not just beat opponents, he embarrassed them. He made talented athletes look like they were standing still. By the time he reached Auburn University, the entire country knew his name. His name was Bo Jackson, and he was about to change football forever. At Auburn, Bo Jackson did not just play football. He put on performances that became instant legends. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1985, given to the best college football player in America. But that award does not tell the full story. The full story lives in the memories of every defender who tried to bring him down. There was the game against Mississippi State where he ran through the entire defense, not around them, through them. Defenders would hit him and simply bounce off. They would wrap their arms around him and get dragged for extra yards. There was the game against Georgia where he turned a simple running play into a 70-yard touchdown. Defenders had perfect angles. They had perfect positioning. None of it mattered. Bo Jackson ran a 40-yard dash in 4.12 seconds. To put that in perspective, that is faster than most Olympic sprinters. And this was not some small, lightweight speed receiver. This was a man who stood 6 feet 1 inch tall and weighed 230 pounds of pure muscle. He combined sprinter speed with the power of a linebacker. It was a combination that had never existed before. Many argue it has never existed since. When the NFL draft came, Bo Jackson was the first overall pick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected him, believing they had just secured their franchise for the next decade. But Bo Jackson refused to sign. He felt the organization had been dishonest with him. They had violated his college eligibility.
So the most talented player in the draft simply walked away from millions of dollars because of principle. That decision shocked the sports world, but it also revealed something important about Bo Jackson. He was not just an athlete, he was a man who lived by his own code, a man who could not be controlled or manipulated. Instead of the NFL, Bo Jackson chose baseball. He signed with the Kansas City Royals and began his professional baseball career. Most people assumed his football days were over. They were wrong. In 1987, the Los Angeles Raiders took a chance. They drafted Bo Jackson in the 7th round, knowing he might never play for them. But the Raiders understood something. They understood that if there was even a small chance of getting Bo Jackson on their team, it was worth the risk. And then something remarkable happened. Bo Jackson decided to play both sports. He would play baseball through the summer. Then, when baseball season ended, he would join the Raiders for the final stretch of the NFL season. The football world held its breath. Could he do it? Could anyone compete at the highest level of two professional sports simultaneously? Bo Jackson answered that question on Monday Night Football. It was 1987. The Raiders were facing the Seattle Seahawks. The entire nation was watching. This was Bo Jackson's coming out party. Seattle had a linebacker named Brian Bosworth. He was the most hyped defender in football. He had movie star looks, incredible talent, and a mouth that never stopped talking. Before the game, Bosworth guaranteed he would shut down Bo Jackson. On one play, Bo Jackson took the handoff and ran straight at Brian Bosworth. There was nowhere to hide. It was a collision course. The two men met at the goal line. What happened next became one of the most famous plays in NFL history. Bo Jackson did not try to juke. He did not try to spin. He lowered his shoulder and ran directly through Brian Bosworth. He knocked the linebacker backward into the end zone. He scored the touchdown while carrying a grown man on his chest. The clip played on every sports channel for weeks. It became a symbol. It became proof of what defenders already knew. You could not tackle Bo Jackson. You could only hope to survive him. But that was just the beginning. There was the run against Seattle where Bo Jackson took a simple pitch and turned it into a 91-yard touchdown. Defenders had the angle, they had the speed, and then they watched in disbelief as Bo Jackson simply ran past them, not around them, past them, like they were jogging. He reached the end zone and ran straight into the tunnel. He did not stop to celebrate. He did not stop for anything. He just kept running and disappeared into darkness. That image became iconic. It captured everything about Bo Jackson. Unstoppable, uncontainable, unlike anything anyone had ever seen. There was the game where he ran over defenders so violently that his own teammates winced on the sideline. There was the game where he stiff-armed a safety so hard the man did a complete flip in the air. There was the play where 3 defenders hit him simultaneously and he still gained 5 more yards. Coaches started holding meetings specifically about Bo Jackson, not about the Raiders' offense, about one single player. They would study film for hours trying to find a weakness. They never found one. Defenders who are now retired still talk about what it felt like to tackle him. They describe the impact like nothing else in their careers. They describe the fear they felt lining up across from him. This was a man who was not supposed to exist. His combination of size, speed, and power broke every model, every projection, every assumption about what a human body could do. And he was doing all of this as a part-time player. Bo Jackson was an all-star in baseball. He was hitting home runs that traveled over 500 feet. He was throwing out runners from the warning track with a cannon arm that matched his legendary speed. And then he would show up to football and dominate players who had been training for that single sport their entire lives. The 1990 season should have been his coronation. Bo Jackson was heading to the Pro Bowl. He was establishing himself as the most electric player in football. Everything was building towards something special. Then came January 1991, a playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bo Jackson took a hit. It did not look serious, but when he tried to stand up, something was wrong. His hip had been injured in a way that would change everything. The injury ended his football career. It nearly ended his baseball career too. Doctors discovered his hip condition was degenerative. He would need a hip replacement just to walk normally again. The sports world mourned. The greatest athlete anyone had ever seen was being taken away too soon. He had only played 4 NFL seasons, only 55 career games, and yet his impact was so enormous that people still rank him among the greatest to ever play. What Bo Jackson accomplished in that short time was more than most players achieve in 15-year careers. He changed how people thought about athleticism. He proved that limits are often imaginary. He showed that one man with enough talent and determination could dominate not just one sport, but 2. Defenders who faced him will never forget. Fans who watched him will never forget. The legend of Bo Jackson grows larger with every passing year because people realize we may never see anything like him again. He was the player defenders feared, the player who ran through tackles instead of avoiding them, the player who treated professional football like a hobby and still became one of its most dominant forces ever. When people ask who was the greatest pure athlete in American sports history, one name comes up more than any other: Bo Jackson. He did not just play the game, he transcended it. And even though his career was cut short by injury, his legend will live forever. Because some things cannot be measured by statistics or championships. Some things can only be measured by the fear in a defender's eyes, by the gasps from the crowd, by the stories that get passed down from generation to generation. Bo Jackson created those moments every single time he touched the football. If this story gave you chills, you are not alone. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another legendary story. Drop a comment telling me who you think is the most physically dominant player in NFL history. And if you want to see more incredible football stories, watch the video on your screen right now.